Today we're going to talk through how to change some of the Zoom settings when you are scheduling a meeting. So from Zoom, I have gone to my profile page, and here you can change your photo and you can edit all the information. So that's kind of fun. You click the edit there if you want to change your photo and your name. Let's go into the settings. That's where most of the magic happens. And so you want to make sure that you are familiar with all of these settings. The beauty in Zoom, and it's pretty intuitive, it's easy to do, and you really can't break it. So don't be afraid to try some of these settings. I usually turn all of the video options off when people are joining meetings, and then you can manually turn things on. That way it saves bandwidth. You're not caught off guard, so that's just safe. So I turn all the videos off. I allow both telephone and computer audio. Here's where you can change the options, allowing your participants to join before you're ready. They can just pop in as they arrive, or you can put them in a waiting room. And so I'll show you that in a minute. So if you allow them to join before host, which this one is set, they can pop in. Otherwise, it's turned off, and they'll be in a waiting room until you're ready to start your meeting. All kinds of personal settings and passwords. You can determine who joins or who doesn't based on invitations. If you have a password, this protects confidential information. So I'm just scrolling through those quickly. I also have everybody muted before they join, and that way there's a lot of noise and they have to unmute to be able to speak. I do send meeting reminders if they've registered for my session. The chat feature, I always turn the chat on, but if you want to disable the chat box, this is where you do it. Private chat, it's to send each other messages. You can turn that on or off, and auto saving. I turn off the play sound because it's annoying. Every time somebody joins or leaves, you'll hear a sound. I do allow file transfers in case I want to share documents and put them in the meeting chat. And then I do allow co-host. This is where you turn it on. So if you want somebody to co-host with you, if you want to do polls in your Zoom, this is where you turn it on or off. Zoom windows during screen share, I turn that on because then I can see all of my windows. Screen sharing, I set it at host or all participants, depending on the meeting. And so those are some of the things that will allow you just controls. I can disable screen share for users. I can turn annotations on and off, but again, all these settings have to be established before you schedule your meeting. Otherwise, these tools are not available. So the annotation needs to be turned on, the whiteboard needs to be turned on. Click this button so you can save your whiteboard content. Otherwise, you won't be able to save it and download it. Screen sharing remote control, allow others to share the content. I turn that on, so if they're sharing their screen, I still can control the content if something happens. And then these other things I want to show you down here. The breakout room, this is another one of those features that in order to have breakout rooms in your meeting, it needs to be turned on and allow hosts to assign participants when scheduling. So if I schedule a meeting in advance and I know who's going to be there and they've registered and responded, then I can go ahead and pre-put them in a breakout room. I also can do breakout rooms on the fly, but keep both of those set and so you have the most control. If you want to do closed captioning, you can assign that or you can send it out to a third party. So all of that. Virtual background, I turn this on so that participants can either choose to do their real background or a virtual background. So all of these others, you can read through all of the settings. This is where the waiting room is. I turn the waiting room on, so if I don't allow my host to join before the meeting, then I put them in a waiting room, and then I can accept them in. Otherwise, if the waiting room is off and I don't allow people to join before the host, what happens is I join, I start the meeting, and then at that point, everybody joins. You can show a join from your browser link, makes it really easy. So when you're sending out a meeting invitation, it's a join button. You just click that and the magic happens and they join your meeting. You can control all of your email notifications through the settings. And then again, blur a snapshot if you want to, potentially sensitive information, so you can blur it out if you need to. You can create an invitation email. all kinds of things. So this is the settings, and you basically can't hurt it. Just know that you turn things on and then you can control it in the meeting. That's much easier than forgetting to turn things on and then you don't have access to the tools in the meeting. Hope this helps you set up a successful Zoom meeting.